Hey everyone, welcome back to iTower. In today's video, we're going to talk about something very useful in real-world coding, retry logic. This is one of those things that can help make your apps more stable and professional, and it's a simple concept once you understand the idea. If you've ever made a request to a server or called an API and it failed, retry logic is what helps you try again without crashing your app or frustrating the user. Before we jump into the code, make sure to like the video if you're excited about this topic and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and you stay up to date with all our tutorials. Alright, let's get started. Let's take a moment to understand what retry logic actually is. Imagine you're building a weather app that fetches data from a third-party API. Or maybe you have an admin panel that saves user settings to the database. Sometimes these requests fail, maybe the internet is slow, maybe the server is overloaded, or maybe there's just a hiccup somewhere in the network. But it doesn't always mean something is permanently broken. Retry logic is the practice of not giving up immediately when something fails. Instead, the operation is tried again, maybe once, twice, or more, with a small delay in between attempts. Often, the issue is temporary, and the second or third try can succeed. This makes the app more forgiving and much more pleasant for the user. This kind of logic is extremely useful in situations where you don't fully control the other side. It's especially valuable when making HTTP requests to external APIs, interacting with databases, uploading files to cloud services, sending emails, or working with any service that might occasionally fail due to network issues or rate limits. Without retry logic, a small hiccup might cause an entire operation to fail unnecessarily. With it, you give your system a second chance, or even a third, to get things right. Now let's look at a simple simulation in code. We'll start with a basic function that randomly succeeds or fails, just like a real API might. This function returns a promise. Inside the promise, we use math_random to simulate an unpredictable result. If the number is greater than 0.5, we resolve and return a success message. If not, we reject and return an error. We also use a small timeout to simulate the delay of a real network request. Alright, now let's write our retry function from scratch. I'll explain everything step by step so you understand exactly what's going on and why we're doing it this way. So first, we create an asynchronous function called retry. It takes 3 arguments. The first one is fn, which is the function we want to try running, usually something like a network request. The second argument is retries, which tells us how many times we want to try again if it fails. By default, it's 3. And delay is how long we wait between each retry. In milliseconds, we default that to 1000 milliseconds, which is 1 second. Now let's set up the retry logic using a loop. We're using a for loop here because we want to control how many times we try. The variable I represents the current attempt number, starting from 0. The loop keeps running until we reach the number of retries we allowed. Inside the loop, we start with a try block. This is where we actually try to run the function we passed in. Next, we call the function fn and await its result. If it succeeds, we immediately return the result and exit the retry function. That means we don't need to keep trying, it worked. But if the function throws an error, we catch it here. That means the attempt failed, and we might want to try again. This line checks if we're on the last attempt. If we are, that means there are no more retries left, so we throw the error and let it bubble up. We're done trying. And if it's not the last attempt, we wait for a certain amount of time before trying again. This line creates a delay by using setTimeout inside a promise. We only continue to the next iteration after the delay has passed. And that's it. This function gives us a really flexible way to retry any asynchronous operation that might fail, like fetching data from a server or working with a flaky API. It handles errors gracefully and gives us control over how many times to try and how long to wait between attempts. Now let's use our retry logic with the fetch data function. This tells our app to try fetch data up to 3 times, waiting 1 second between each attempt. If one of those attempts succeeds, we log the result. If they all fail, we log the final error. This pattern gives our app a chance to recover from temporary problems. Now let's think about where else retry logic can help. Imagine your app is processing a payment. The payment gateway might time out, but retrying once might be enough to make it go through. Or suppose you're uploading a file to cloud storage and the network briefly drops. A quick retry can make sure the upload finishes without the user needing to do anything. This logic is also helpful for sending email or push notifications, where the server might temporarily reject a request. Even in front-end apps, when fetching data during page load, retrying once or twice can reduce the chance of showing an error message unnecessarily. The main idea behind retry logic is building resilience into your applications. Things don't always work the first time, and good code takes that into account. By retrying operations that might fail temporarily, you improve stability and user experience. Now you know how retry logic works, why it's important, and how to write it yourself in JavaScript. Try experimenting with different numbers of retries, different delays, and even test it on real functions like fetch. You'll get a better feel for how it behaves under different conditions. If this video helped you, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss any future coding tutorials. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.